In this video, I'll help you choose which method of fasting is right for you. When most people begin fasting, they base the method that they're going to use off of a blog post they read, maybe the latest video that you watched like this, or even maybe what their friends are doing, what their family members told them about. But the truth is the fasting that you should be doing is the fasting that's right for you, that's based off achieving whatever health goal it is that you're trying to accomplish. And that's what I'm going to really help do in this video, is point you in the right direction and help you do the proper fast for whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So stick around to the end. But before we get started, I'm Dr. Zyrowski and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, it's a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join our notification community so I can help you excel your health and your life. Now, when we look at fasting, as I mentioned, it's all about your goals, okay? A lot of people are just doing it based off whatever camp they fall into or whatever it is their family members are doing. But we really want to be very accurate as to how we're choosing our fasting method, because for one, we want it to be sustainable and we want to be using it for a long period of time. And then, the other thing is that we really want to make sure that we're accomplishing our health goal efficiently. Otherwise, we're just going to give up. We're going to quit. We're going to be like, it's not working. It's not doing what I want it to do. And I find this all the time with patients where they do it for a while. I was like, well, that was fun, but it didn't really do much for me. So who cares? So let's go ahead and talk about these fasting methods. So 16 and 8, this is where I like to start. Now with 16 and 8, this is kind of just the general fast that most people are doing. This is the go-to in which I use in my own personal life. This is the go-to in which I use in my patients' lives. So if you're someone who has never fasted before, one of the things you want to do is start with 16 and 8, okay? Even if that sounds a little bit daunting to you, you're a little bit timid to jump into a 16 and 8 fast, start with like a 12-hour fast and then do a 14-hour fast. And you're going to realize like, oh, that was pretty seamless. That was pretty easy because, naturally I didn't necessarily feel like eating breakfast in the morning, and then push it to that 16-hour. You're going to fall into it pretty easily. Now, when we look at 16 and 8, you have to think and think at the back of your mind this whole time when you're watching this video, what is it I'm trying to accomplish? Because that is what's important. First of all, I'm thinking weight loss, okay? 16 and 8 is really good for weight loss. When we look at all the people who are just trying to maintain a healthy weight, you naturally, put your calories into a shorter window. You have a much lesser chance of overeating and coming into that huge calorie surplus, which is going to cause you to gain fat. 16 and 8 just works really well for this, okay? So not only maintaining a healthy weight, but also just weight loss in general. And then prevention is the next thing, okay? Let's say that you're a completely healthy individual and you just want to maintain good health because you see how the statistics are starting to show up with all these people who are getting heart disease and cancer at fairly young ages, and you want to prevent that. 16 and 8 on a regular is awesome. Anti-aging benefits, the studies show time after time that if we eat a little bit less, if we aren't grazing all day, we're putting our meals into a shorter window, it essentially has a huge anti-aging benefit to us, okay? And so there's a huge amount of research around this. And then just maintenance, which we'll talk about more with like some of these conditions and how it circles back to this and how you just kind of bounce between some of these fasts in just a moment. But just maintaining that healthy lifestyle. When we talk about longevity and having just an abundance of life and not only having a good quantity of life, but quality of life, fasting is really at the forefront of doing this. It's so seamless to add into your daily lifestyle. Let's talk about one meal a day, okay? Because with this one meal a day, it's kind of in a funny place where it falls into two categories, okay? You get some of the benefit that you'll start to get with these longer fasts, these 3 to 5 day fasts, but you also get the benefit that you're going to receive from the 16 and 8. So then at this point, it's kind of a judgment call, all right? So how do I go about navigating this, and how do I teach my patients to navigate one meal a day versus 16 and 8? So what I like to do is I like to do about 2 to 3 days of 16 and 8 and about 2 to 3 days of one meal a day. So what does that mean? And okay, well, is it 2 days or is it 3 days? Which is it? You're probably asking. Well, the truth is that in order to make it sustainable, we move it around. We bounce back and forth a little bit. And the other thing too is I let whatever is going to naturally happen, I let it happen. There's some days where it's like I don't have time to grab meals, so one meal a day naturally happens. And then there's other days where I'm hitting a hard workout. 16 and 8 is the better one for me. Now, what I find personally is that one meal a day consecutively just puts way too much stress on my body. You know, maybe it's the exercise, maybe it's the work that I'm doing, you know, maybe it's being very active. I don't know. But basically what happens if I'm doing one meal a day, too many days in a row, my body doesn't like it. I start to not be able to sleep well at night. It starts to make me not feel well. So I don't even do one meal a day consecutively. I do one meal a day, 16 and 8, one meal a day, 16 and 8, then 16 and 8 and move forward from there. Now here's the thing. My fasting method is not your fasting method. Okay. What I want you to do is look at these two methods right here and go, okay, how can these actually fit me and sustainably work into my lifestyle? And you don't even have to include one meal a day if you don't want. You can just stick to this. Okay. So I like about 2 to 3 days of this. This is my main go-to. I like to throw in some one meal a day here and there, but I don't do it too often because it disrupts my sleep patterns and causes too much stress from my body, as I mentioned. And so that may be the same for you. Some people can get away with doing one meal a day seamlessly, and it feels pretty good to them. So it really just depends on lifestyle and everything in between. Now let's talk about this 3 to 5 day water fast, okay? Because as I mentioned, I like to do these 2 to 3 days and then this 2 to 3 days. And I also take one day where I just do a full 3 meals. Okay. I like to do that. I think that, you know, creating this, what I refer to as metabolic confusion, where you're not just patterning your metabolism with the same fast every single day. I think that works really well. I've seen it in my patients, they get better results that way. And I've seen it in my own life. Okay. So give it a try if you've never done that. Okay. Do a little bit of everything. 3 to 5 day fast. These are awesome. Now, if you're someone who's suffering from a condition, the 3 to 5 day water fasts are really powerful. Why are they powerful? Because it's like hitting the reset button, okay? What the research shows is like hitting that reset button. And if you're facing a condition, it really helps just, you know, promote that healing process in the body. So autoimmune issues. Now there's a lot of people suffering from these issues, okay? If we think of all the people who have gastrointestinal issues, all the people who have problems with thyroids, people who have problems with, you know, arthritis, and just all these autoimmune conditions, they're really spiraling out of control today. And as your immune system starts to just have a whole bunch of dysfunction, you start to have sensitivities to all these foods that you're eating. You start to become very sensitive to your environment, where, you know, not only maybe are you reacting to hair products and different things that you're putting on your body, which you don't want to put those chemicals on your body anyway. You got to be careful with that stuff, but you're starting to just interact or have a negative interaction with almost anything that touches you because your immune system is just on high alert. Doing this 3 to 5 day water fast just hits that reset button and it helps balance things out. It works very well. And, you know, for me personally, I find that if I'm not doing these, let's say that I just get busy and I forget to do these fasts, I find that like some of these things start to spiral out of control for me. It's almost like my body requires it, which is really interesting. And as I age, I find that I become more sensitive and need this stuff even more. And so next is going to help, it's going to help with inflammation. Okay. So if we think back to inflammatory conditions like heart conditions, cancer, or people who are suffering from arthritis, like I just mentioned, the 3 to 5 day water fast really helps shut down that inflammatory cycle in the body. It really does a good job at that. As a matter of fact, I have a couple different genetic SNPs that basically show that I am someone who is highly prone to developing inflammatory problems in my body. So once again, I find that these 3 to 5 day water fasts are really essential for me because I feel like I get this buildup of just, you know, negative health over a period of time. And then I do that 3 to 5 day water fast and all the symptoms that started popping up and some of these weird things, they just go away and rewind themselves. Next, it's going to really help with the insulin resistance. Okay, if you're someone who has insulin resistance, sometimes doing these fasts like this are almost necessary. It's almost like a necessity in order to start unwinding that negative pattern with the metabolism and the inflammatory issues within that whole complex there. And so insulin resistance, this is highly beneficial for. Now, I want to say this too. If you have some of these different conditions, it's always good to work with a doctor to work through reversing these conditions using fasting, because you may be on medications. There's a lot of different complicated things that can come up. And so working with a doctor is highly beneficial if you have a condition. But of course, the fasting is beneficial too. And let me tell you, if you're working with a doctor that is not using fasting as a method to help you stay healthy and promote longevity, then you may want to consider the doctor you're working with, because the thing is that if you're not utilizing this stuff right here, which isn't based off my opinion, which isn't based off the opinion of people who are in the holistic realm, it's based off of research, okay? If they're not using these types of methods, it's like, what are they doing? They're totally missing the boat on some of this. I mean, this is some of the just bare bones things that you can do on a daily basis to promote health. Cardiovascular conditions, when, like I said, we talked about inflammatory conditions in the heart. We're talking about blood pressure issues, cholesterol issues. I mean, you name it. When we look at fasting, highly, highly beneficial. The research really backs that up. And by the way, with insulin resistance, if you want to learn more about one of the best nutrients you can use to help reverse insulin resistance, I'll put a video right up here that's very powerful, and I'll also put it in the description below. I want to mention that because it's important for people who are trying to reverse this issue naturally, and I do understand that a lot of people who follow this channel have this issue. Neurodegeneration. Neurodegeneration is also a problem for a lot of people. Parkinson's, we're looking at Alzheimer's. The research shows that these 3 to 5 day fasts, these longer fasts, are highly beneficial for unwinding these patterns, these neurodegenerative patterns. And so when we look at fasting in general, okay, like I said, this is something that is just like low-lying fruit as to how you can improve your health. When we look at this 3 to 5 day water fast, it's really great for hitting the reset button. And one of the other things too these are great for is people who are obese, okay? Obesity is a major reason you would do this kind of thing. So 3 to 5 day water fast, monthly or bi-monthly. I don't like it when people are doing them too often. I think it's a little bit dangerous. I think you can have some negativity that comes out of that. You know, too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So you do this, you know, monthly to bi-monthly, and then you come back and you lean back on these two fasting methods right here, because they're great for prevention of these types of things, and they're great for maintenance, okay? And then that's how you can kind of navigate fasting. Let me know in the comments section what type of fasting you're doing and what kind of schedule you use, because as I mentioned, it is the right schedule for you. It's not the right schedule for me. Some people may never come out of 16 and 8. Some people may just be right in the 1 meal a day pattern. And then some people may do a 3 to 5 day water fast, I don't know, maybe every 4 months, you know, but I explain you the patterns that I use personally. I explain the ones that I use with patients, and I know what works when it comes to this stuff. So let me know which ones you're using here, and then give this video a thumbs up. And then lastly, check out this video over here that's going to talk about all the ways that you can make 1 meal a day super easy. Here is something that's incredibly important to understand. 1 meal a day is highly beneficial when it comes to losing weight. But here's one of the key factors. If you're not doing this right here, then you're wasting your time.